Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing, and today we're going to tie the bucktail. Well, that kind of sounds kind of rude for a name, but I think just refers to the fact there are two colors in the wing. But yeah, it's an old name, so we put a new meaning onto that. But anyway, we won't go there, will we? It's a simple pattern. It does have a couple of extra things in it that we haven't tackled before. And that'll make it a little bit more interesting. And I think it's a kind of a generic looking color scheme that I think will actually perform quite well in the water. It has some similarities to the black-nosed dace. So, you know, if you're used to using dace type patterns, I think this one will work just as well. So let's get started in looking at the materials. Our hook is a size 2 streamer hook, 3 extra heavy, 7 extra long. Our thread is 6/0 Vivus in black. Now this is where the tail's going to get interesting. This is a goose quill that's dyed red. We're going to be using that for a tail instead of a usual saddle hackle. The body is gold silver mylar. We're going to be using the silver side. We're using small oval silver for the rib. The bottom of the wing is white. The top of the wing is brown bucktail. And we've got some jungle cock to finish it off with. So let's get started. Now I'm going to do a bit of a speed method here. I showed a speed method on the last bucktail. I'm going to do another one on this one. Tie in our materials right at the beginning. And in this case we have to kind of tie them on top because of the way we're doing it. And as usual, tying the mylar in, we tie it in opposite to what we're actually going to use. Now I'm going to grab both the mylar and the rib, hold them up at an angle, and wrap. Now we're going to stop a little short of the hook point because we're going to use that opportunity to put in our goose, and don't take much. I've got about 1/8 of an inch roughly, and I've leveled the tips off. As you can see, the tips are now level. Now I'm going to try something tricky. I'm going to try to fold this in the middle. There we go. So I folded that down, so I've got the shiny side on both sides. It's nice and even. And by folding it, it gives us a little bit of extra strength. Now I'm just going to hold that in place. Put a pinch loop. It moved a little bit, so let's get it back on top. Okay, we brought that back to the hook point. We trim off, then we come forward. Now, if we wanted to do a work of art here, what I would do is I'd make 2 passes with the thread, and I'd fill up that bump that I've created there. Now on this fly I'm not going to bother, we're doing more of a speed technique, so we just come back, try and keep this neat. Okay, now we're going to put on the body. Get it separated from the tail. Now I'm going to put one wrap right over the tail. That's going to help secure it and keep it in place. Keep it oriented properly. Now I'm going to come forward. Now for the rib. And again, I turn at the back. Now we've secured the tail, come forward. Bring your thread to the back. Now for the white bucktail. As is usual, take out the short bits. I'm not going to stack this. I'm going to bring this back about a little past the tail Pinch loop it on top. Couple of firm wraps. Get it oriented. Go down close to the eye. Don't cut your thread. Okay, finish this off. Soft wrap at the back. Now for the brown. Size it. Pinch loop. Pull into position. A few wraps. Now check its position. That's good. Now we don't wrap it as far forward as the white. You trim it off. Soft wraps at the back. Double check everything. Good. Now we have our jungle cock eyes. Couple of turns to hold that one. When you're satisfied with it, put a few extra wraps at the back. Come forward. Now let's trim off those stems. Now we whip finish. And head cement. Okay, there's our Bucktail. It's difficult to say, isn't it? It doesn't roll off the tongue very easily. I think this will be a great little pattern. I kind of like it. It gives me that black-nosed dace vibe. You notice I've tied it rather sparse. I've kept the wing compressed so it doesn't stick right up. This to me is more of a fishing fly. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to bang some fish with this one, no doubt. And that little hot red at the end, that'll always work. So give it a try, the Bucktail. I have to work at saying it right. Anyway, cheers.